We love it raw!
Hi, this is We Love It Raw with A.S. Caldero, Chris Coury, the future, and V-Ness. Please subscribe, listen, share, tag, make people hear this. This is a great show. Thank you guys. We love you.
We love it raw!
Can you believe we're only 2 weeks away from Fastlane? And we're just a month and a half away from WrestleMania? Time's flying by, folks. And that can only mean one thing. What's going on to shape up Fastlane and WrestleMania? Well, if you really want to know, you've turned to the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to We Love It Raw. And on today's show, I'm only going to give you certain parts that really impact Fastlane. And that is the triple threat match for the WWE World Title at WrestleMania. Now, we start Monday Night Raw off with the Queen, Stephanie McMahon. And she's out there just to give us all a visual reminder that Fastlane, the winner, whether it be Ambrose, Reigns, or Lesnar, has a golden opportunity to face her husband, the 14-time WWE Champion Triple H, at WrestleMania. And it was a contract signing last night on Monday Night Raw. Now, I'm sure a lot of you remember contract signings in the past. They don't end well. I have never in my life seen a contract signing end peacefully. Well, this one was just like any other contract signing I've seen in the history of the WWE. Brock Lesnar is in the ring, Dean Ambrose, and his brother-in-arms, Roman Reigns, the former WWE World Champion. Now, it would have been a golden opportunity for one of them, whether it be Ambrose or Reigns, to turn on each other, because there have been talks amongst the WWE brass to turn one of them bad. But I wonder what the holdup is. Because I think it would be compelling, and it would make an interesting storyline, putting one of them as the bad guy. Now, if I had to pick a winner for this match to go against Triple H at WrestleMania, I would pick Brock Lesnar. Now, why? Now, here's where you're going to think I'm crazy. If you remember last year's WrestleMania in Levi Stadium, which was, by the way, the home of Super Bowl 50 and the field in which the United and Orange Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl. Congratulations, guys. It's been 18 long years. You made us Bronco fans proud. But that's here or no there. I just had to get a cheap plug in. So, if you remember that, it was Brock against Reigns. Now, at that time, Brock was WWE Champion. Now, it was a very good match until Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase and made it a triple threat match for the WWE World Title. And we all know Seth went on to win the WWE title just to forfeit it heading into Survivor Series. So if you remember that WrestleMania to now, Brock never was pinned to lose the WWE title. So in contract guarantee, he is offered a shot at that title. And that's what Paul Heyman tried to do just a few weeks ago. He tried to convince the McMahons, hey, listen, my client doesn't have to be at Fastlane. He's guaranteed a rematch. Just give him the rematch against the champion, and we'll be on our merry way. You make money, fans make money, the network makes money, we make money. But that only just made situations worse. And that's how we ended up where we are today, with this triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Okay? So that's how we got to that point in time. It was because of the actions of Paul Heyman. Now, look at last week. Last week was Brock Lesnar's biggest night on Raw. He wanted to make a statement going into fastlane, and he did just that. He F5'd and suplexed Dean Ambrose. Because, like I said, Brock Lesnar should still be the WWE Champion, or should have been the number one contender this time around. So, with that statement he did last week, was he going to do another statement last night on Raw? The answer was yes. After the contract was signed by all three competitors, Reigns, Ambrose, and Lesnar, Ambrose, I don't know if a corkscrew came loose, but he confronted Brock Lesnar, and Brock just looked at Dean Ambrose like, are you kidding me? You remember what I did to you last week? And you want it again? You're nuts. And he smacked Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose did, but it ended up in an F5 and a table being thrown and hitting Roman Reigns. So if you had to think about it now, heading into WrestleMania, the advantage would be Brock Lesnar. And if you had to look at Fastlane as well, the advantage would be Brock Lesnar. Because of those statements that he did, who would deny that man from getting a shot at the title again? But that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you have to think. After the actions of Brock Lesnar last week and this week, do you think Brock Lesnar is the clear-cut advantage man heading into Fastlane and WrestleMania? And if you don't think Brock Lesnar is the clear-cut advantage man heading into these two matches at the pay-per-views coming up, then who is? Would you want to see Roman again? Or would you want to see Dean Ambrose, who's had a shot at the title before, but never held it? Let us know. Say something about this, comment on it on our YouTube page, and we will shout your name out with your comment next week. The last We Love It Raw before Fastlane. Can't believe that. So, after the contract signing was over with, we're backstage. Now, Ambrose is livid over what happened again, and he told Roman, I'm going back out. I'm going to confront Brock Lesnar. If I get my butt kicked, so be it. I want to make a name for myself. I want to prove to the WWE fans and to the authority that I can be the champion. And he told Roman, listen, I don't need you out there. I can do this myself. So Dean's out there, he's calling out Brock Lesnar. Brock comes out, and right off the bat, F5. He's about to go for another F5, but here comes Roman. And right off the bat, Dean was not happy, but he could have used all the help he could have gotten. And with the distraction of Roman Reigns to Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose went for the below the belt shot, which took down the Beast, and then Dean Ambrose hightailed it out of there. Still in pain, but he made it out alive and in one piece. So that's where we stand right now, heading into Fastlane in 2 weeks. We're in for a fight. It's not going to be a war. It's going to be a fight. Not going to be a faint of heart. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be something. that I think will be talked about for many, many months to come. So, with this now out of the way, I want to quickly talk about a little bit of other important stuff that happened on Raw. That has no importance to Fastlane, but, you know, it made Monday Night Raw pretty damn good as well. Sasha Banks was out there. She was on commentary for the Becky Lynch Tamina match. Tamina got the win, but it came with a price. Sasha Banks confronted her former teammates and just got knocked the hell out. I mean, it was bad. And Tamina got the win, like I said, with the nice super kick to Becky. So Tamina picks up a big, big win there. That's momentum, because I do see a match coming up, which is going to pit Tamina, Naomi, Becky, and Sasha in a match. And if I was the Authority, I would make the winner of that match the number one contender for whoever is going to be the Divas champion after Fastlane for WrestleMania. That's just my opinion. Then we have Charlotte versus Alicia Fox. Charlotte wins that hands down. Titus O'Neil got an upset over got upset by Adam Rose. That was a surprise. Wyatt defeated Ryback. Big surprise there. But the biggest surprise of the night, ladies and gentlemen, was what happened in the tables match. Now, it was originally supposed to be the New Day versus the Usos. But the Dudleys wanted to get involved and said, you know what? We know it's your match, but this is our match. And we want to be a part of it, okay? We want to make history in this match by making it an 8-person tag team tables match. And it was granted. Now, the New Day had to find a partner. So on one end we had the Dudleys and the Usos, and on the other end we had the New Day, and get ready, Mark Henry. Now, how fast do you think that lasted? I'll give you a little bit of time to reflect on that. Okay, your time's up. It didn't last too long, because the New Day kept barking the orders to Mark Henry, and Mark Henry didn't want to hear it anymore, so he left the ring. And before leaving the ring, he took out the New Day, which opened up the door for the Usos and the Dudleys to win the match. But here's where it got really good. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a talk about this, okay? I read online, I have sources that I go through that give me all this inside information about what goes on in WWE once the cameras are off. Now, a lot of you probably follow TNA, and Bubba Ray was there as well. But he wasn't Bubba Ray, he was Bully Ray. Now, the talks amongst the WWE officials and the brass are to have the Dudleys break up and go down the route of Bully Ray. So with the last night's table match, it opened up the door. Would we see a Bully Ray make a debut in the WWE? Well, no. The Dudleys turned on the Usos. Shocking, because I did not see that coming. I expected a Bully Ray debut. But I'll take a Dudley's turn, because now this makes the tag team division that more interesting. Okay? And before I close the show, this is how I see things going down. Okay? I see a triple threat, no, make it a fatal 4-way tag team elimination match for the WWE Tag Team titles. Dudley's, Usos. I do see R-Truth and Goldust getting involved, and the New Day. And here's how I see it go down. Dudley's, New Day. Dudley's finally get tag team title reign, number 10. That's how I see it go down. Now, I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. And if anything, we should hear that on SmackDown this Thursday night. And speaking of SmackDown Thursday night, it's a much anticipated rematch between AJ Styles and Chris Jericho from AJ Styles' debut just 2 weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to that match. And I'm looking forward to other matches on SmackDown and to next week as well, because next week is the big one, the final Raw before Fastlane. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. There was really not much to really go into, because it was all about Daniel Bryan. And make sure you listen to the Daniel Bryan review. I gave a good insight about that. And also, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that, we are setting barriers high, with these views, and, we want to keep it going strong, the word getting out there, and we just want to spread the word even more, and we want to just make this show strong, and, it can't happen without you, and, you're making this happen, and Mr. Caldera and I, are grateful, and we are appreciated for all that you guys are doing. Like I said, when I was on Jury Duty, in August, I came up with a slogan. It's one voice, your voice, one city, our city. And that's what this show is running on. Your voice, our voice, your opinion, our opinion. And that's how we're going to do it, alright? We love doing this. This is our life. This is our passion. It's like being in the middle of the WWE ring. We do this for fun, we do this for you, and we do this because we want to. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to hearing from you, our fans. I look forward to your input and feedback. And we will definitely share them next week on the last We Love It Raw before WWE Fastlane 2016. For my co-host, my partner in crime, Mr. Caldera, I am the boss, saying, keep it real and keep it raw. See you next week. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special show. This show is about a man who made a name for himself in the WWE. A man who started a movement and made it a revolution. A man who made history at WrestleMania. I'm talking about Daniel Bryan. And you're probably thinking, why are we focusing this show on Daniel Bryan? Well, it's very plain and simple, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, Daniel Bryan on Monday Night Raw announced his emotional retirement in front of his friends and family in Seattle, Washington. And he announced it not only in the middle of the ring, but on his Twitter account as well. And the reason why he had to retire was because of a medical condition. And that condition prevented him from doing the one thing that he had a passion for since day one, and that was being a WWE superstar and performing in front of the best fans in the entire world. So what better way to give this show a name? Instead of We Love It Raw, this is We Love Daniel Bryan, the man behind the Yes Movement. And on this show, you're going to hear a few things. You're going to hear a clip from Occupy Raw, a clip from his match before WrestleMania 30, and you're also going to hear parts of his retirement speech on Monday Night Raw last night. So without hesitation, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show with Occupy Raw, dated March 10th, 2014, location, Memphis, Tennessee.
Stephanie, Hunter, this is the problem. You guys and people like you underestimate the power of these people. Stephanie, last week you told everybody here that you own this ring, that you own this arena, that you own me, that you own these people. Guess what? You don't own any of this. We own this ring! Look at that. Daniel Bryan's hijacking a global television show. Maybe it's...
So you heard what Daniel Bryan had to say to the Authority. Because at that time, in 2014, Daniel Bryan had no official match at WrestleMania 30. He wasn't even on the card. He wasn't even a mention for the pay-per-view that year. And he wanted to make a statement, and he did. You know, he stood up for what he believed right. And he felt that by hijacking Raw, he would make a statement and get what he wanted. But it was going to not be an easy task, because Stephanie McMahon had her own rebuttal about what was going on with Daniel Bryan and the Yes Movement, otherwise known as Occupy Raw.
The Yes Movement. This ends now. Get the next match ready. Hit somebody's music. Get this show on the road. Go. Good. Roll it.
I make a correction. That was Triple H that said it was over. And by right, he had a point to say that, but here's where it got interesting. Damian Sandow at that time came out, and once he saw what was going on in the middle of the ring, he said, you know what, I don't want no part of this. And he defied the Authority. You know, and it pissed Triple H, and it pissed Stephanie McMahon off to a point where they wanted to take actions after that into their own hands, and they did. And this is where, right now, it got really heated between Daniel Bryan and the Authority. Take a listen for yourself, and you be the judge about what I was telling you now. Take a listen.
Don't you disrespect my husband. Don't you disrespect my family's name. My great-grandfather, my grandfather. When I was born, this place became mine. It is all mine. And I do own you. I do own you. Get out. I said get out. Get out. Get out.
Don't you hear, Stephanie? They're saying no. They are saying no. We are not leaving until we get what we want. And Hunter, between you and me at WrestleMania 30.
You're now at that point where you're thinking, wow, Daniel Bryan's got guts. He had balls to do what no other man at that time wanted to do, and that was to step up to the authority. Because you know that if you stepped up to the authority, it was going to come at a price. And Daniel Bryan did that. And, you know, I have to say, I was really shocked. And I was really shocked at what, you know, Triple H had to say. Because I know Triple H from personally, you know, and he doesn't really cave in that bad, but, you know, he caved in against Daniel Bryan, and he reluctantly said, you know what, you want a match with me at WrestleMania? Be careful what you wish for. You want it, you got it. You, me, WrestleMania 30, and it was set. That night, March 10th, 2014, was a big night for the WWE. It was a big night for Daniel Bryan, and it was also a big night for WrestleMania 30. And we have to say, thank you, Daniel Bryan, for making WrestleMania 30 the biggest WrestleMania in the history of the WWE. But that was just one memorable moment in the career of Daniel Bryan. Now I'm going to take you to WrestleMania 30. And this match between Triple H and Daniel Bryan has something to do with the main event. Now, mention the fact that Daniel Bryan at this time has not had a championship in a long time. The last one he had was the World Heavyweight title, and that was at WrestleMania 28. Okay? WrestleMania 29, he was a tag team champion, but that was minor compared to being the World Heavyweight champion. Now, he fights Triple H at WrestleMania 30. And if Daniel Bryan would win, he would go on to main event WrestleMania 30 for the title. Now you're thinking, big name guy, small guy, major champion, minority champion. Who had the clear-cut advantage of WrestleMania 30? Easy. It was supposed to be Triple H. But the unthinkable happened. Daniel Bryan at that time, ladies and gentlemen, okay, pulled off the biggest WrestleMania upset of all time. He beat Triple H. And that was part one, though, okay? Part one. Now, granted, you got your win over a big top name Hall of Fame bound guy. But Daniel Bryan had to go through another obstacle. Okay? He had to go through Batista and Randy Orton. Now, there you would think, Daniel Bryan, two other big guys, former champions, sure-bound Hall of Famers. Who would have the advantage? Now you would think, Randy Orton, champion. Or Batista, he's held the gold as well. Now mention, Daniel Bryan has never held the big belt. He's held the world title, but not the big belt. Okay? So, here's where it got really interesting with Daniel Bryan. He goes into that match and pulls off another win. Wins the WWE World title. Thus cementing his legacy right then and there. That night, cemented Daniel Bryan. And I have to say, I was shocked from what I saw, but I was glad to have witnessed it that year. Because if it wasn't for the Yes movement, that would never have happened. So thank you, Daniel Bryan, for making the Yes movement and for winning and making a name for all of us to remember that night in New Orleans. That's just one special moment. Here's another special moment about Daniel Bryan. And I know a lot of you know this, okay? 2010, Daniel Bryan steps foot in the WWE. He's an NXT rookie. Now, at this time, NXT was just brand new. He was under the tutelage of The Miz. And right off the bat, a lot of people were criticizing Daniel Bryan. Okay? They were saying he's a scrawny guy, he's a no-name guy, he's not going to make it big in the WWE. And even The Miz said it too, you know, he said, Daniel, you don't have the heart of a champion. You don't have that in-ring capability to be anybody in the WWE. You know, you're not answering your criticism, you're not answering anything. And in a way, The Miz was right, but in a way, The Miz didn't know what was going to become Daniel Bryan in 2010. Nobody knew. And he did go on to be the breakout star from NXT. Daniel Bryan comes up the very next year in 2011, joins the Nexus, and takes out the face of the WWE at that time, John Cena. So, you know, if you want to really look at Daniel Bryan between 2014 and 2010 and 11, those were the 2 years that really made Daniel Bryan who he was. Okay? In between 2012 and 2013, he had skits, but no major storylines. Okay? It was 2011 and 2014 that really propelled Daniel Bryan to what he was now. And one last special moment before I go into the retirement of Daniel Bryan last night on Raw was last year's WrestleMania. Now, Daniel Bryan's coming off major surgery with the neck. He suffered that in 2014 at the end of the title match at WrestleMania 30. Now, none of us knew what was going on. We thought we are never going to see Daniel Bryan again between WrestleMania 30 and WrestleMania 31 in Levi Stadium in California. We thought we were never going to see him again. But we did. He kicked off WrestleMania the same way he ended WrestleMania, in a match. And before a championship. It wasn't the WWE title, it was the Intercontinental title. Now, it was a ladder match, and we had other big name stars in there. We had Luke Harper, Barrett, Truth, Ziggler, Ambrose. You name it, they were in there. And I have to say this about Daniel Bryan. He's courageous for going into a match of that magnitude and surviving. Okay? He survived that match. He was one of the last two on that ladder. With Ziggler. And what I recall, and I still do to this day, was the headbutt fight that occurred on top of the ladder. And what Jerry Lawler said was funny. He said, you don't headbutt a goat, you're never going to win. And it proved that to be the right thing. You know, after headbutt, after headbutt, after headbutt, Ziggler ended up on the bottom of the ladder, knocked out. Daniel Bryan reached for the rungs and he grabbed the Intercontinental title. And that was another special night for him as well, because fresh off winning the WWE World title at WrestleMania 30, he goes on to win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 31 the very next year. And that was big for him, okay? It was big because it was a belt he's never held before, and that just put him to the top of the list of being in the Hall of Fame, whenever that is. And the one thing I remember was 70-some-odd thousand people at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara just chanting yes, 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 yes. Because it wasn't WrestleMania in Daniel Bryan's eyes, it was Yeso-mania in his eyes. Because all he saw was the yes movement in full effect. And it was incredible to see a man come off of major surgery, win another championship, and propel his career to higher levels. But unfortunately, it came to a crashing end just last night on Monday Night Raw. What you heard on this show was the moments that I remember from Daniel Bryan. And they were two good moments that I remember, but it was, you know, this moment last night on Monday Night Raw, you know, that, you know, brought a big tear to my eye. I thought I was never, ever going to see this, and I'm just going to let Daniel Bryan do the talking. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm just going to let the man do the talking and say what he had to say about his career and what he wants to do going down the road after WWE.
So, just now, I was able to close my eyes and feel that. Like, literally feel it in a way that I've never gotten to feel it before, because when we're here, we always have to keep our eyes open. But just that experience, I'm never going to forget it. But now it is time for me to address the giant elephant in the room. I know, I didn't want to shave my beard either. But the thing is that I wanted to cut my hair, and once I cut my hair, I looked really silly with this giant beard. And this is just my one cheap plug, is that I cut my hair for an organization called Wigs for Kids.
Now, going off topic right now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it was good to see what Daniel Bryan did, you know, for a charitable organization, and, you know, he's a courageous man for doing it, because we all remember Daniel Bryan with the long hair and the big beard. But now it's back to Daniel Bryan and his announcement.
And within the first 5 months of my wrestling career, I'd already had 3 concussions. And for years after that, I would get a concussion here and there, or here or there. And then it gets to the point when you've been wrestling for 16 years that adds up to a lot of concussions. And it gets to a point where they tell you that you can't wrestle anymore. And for a long time I fought that because I had gotten EEGs and brain MRIs and neuropsychological evaluations, and all of them said this, that I was fine, and that I could come back and I could wrestle, and I trained like I would come back and I would wrestle, and I was ready at a moment's notice. If WWE needed me, I wanted to come back and wrestle.
So there you have it. There's your main reason why Daniel Bryan, ladies and gentlemen, had to retire. Because of the concussions that he's been suffering and been having. And, you know, it's a big thing, the concussions, you know, because it can cause damage and it can even cause you to die. And for Daniel Bryan to come out and say that took a lot of heart. Okay? You know, you've had a great career. Go home, spend it with your family, spend it with your beautiful wife, Brianna. And, you know, just do us one big favor, Daniel Bryan. Come back to WWE and visit, whether it be the WrestleMania season, SummerSlam here in New York again this year in August, or even for Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble. Don't forget, Daniel Bryan, you are the WWE. Now, then, and forever. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A look back at some moment in time of the life of Daniel Bryan. I hope you enjoy it. If there was a moment that you want to share with us, please do. Share this on our YouTube page. Share this on our Facebook page as well. What moment do you remember that made Daniel Bryan who he was? What stands out to you about Daniel Bryan? We would love to hear from you. And we'll make sure that on the next edition of We Love It Raw, we share some of those memories before we start the show next week. And that's it. I am the boss, saying, Daniel Bryan, this is for you. Yes, 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 yes.